So I already took them out. So this was the first watercolor pencils I ever used, but that was in 2020. I know that they have changed quite a lot, at least that's what I think, because I see people commenting that they are so bad. I'm just gonna put quite a lot of stuff. Right. So this is the current swatch. You can see that colors are very pale and they're very bad. I wonder if they have changed it because this is not my memory of Pentel before. I went through my old sketchbooks to find out if I have an old swatch. So for a long time, I kept Pentel as a baseline for testing watercolor pencils, meaning every time I bought a new set, I, I would test it against the Pentel to see if it's worth keeping for the money or not. So yeah, I didn't like Devon because they felt scratchier and not nicer. So I was basically looking for a swatch against Devon watercolor pencils, but I couldn't find that. But instead, I found my old. I mean, this is when I first bought the Albert Dürer. I have a spelling wrong, but these are my Faber-Castell pencils, and these are Pentel. You can see almost no difference in pigment load. I even wrote, I even wrote that on the side. And some colors are nicer, more pigmented. This is the swatch size for all the maybe a slightly smaller swatch, but yeah. But more or less, this was the swatch size. And these are Pentels. Again, spelling wrong. This is Pentel, and this is Albert Dürer. This Pentel again. So I can definitely see that. Sorry about not zooming out on this page. I was basically looking at both swatches side by side, and I can definitely see that the pigment load has changed quite a lot in the new Pentels. Looking at the old swatches side by side, I was all the more confused. So I kept swatching them again, and this time I had somewhat controlled how I swatched them. So I first tested them dry, and I didn't go back over them. So I just wanted to see how much pigment each pencil actually releases with minimum effort. About 8 pencils were really good. They were smooth, didn't require much pressure, and gave strong color immediately. Another 8 were reasonable. They didn't feel amazing to use, but they were still workable. And then the last 8 felt quite scratchy. Those needed more pressure and didn't lay down color as easily. But that's only half the story. After that, I activated all of them with water and made a second swatch using whatever pigment was left on the brush. And this is where it gets really interesting. A lot of pencils that felt weak or scratchy when dry actually produced decent color once they were wet, especially some of the yellows and blues. The reds and oranges in the set are particularly strong. They release quite a lot of pigment, even enough to create second swatch from the brush. So overall, the difference between pencils is much more noticeable during the dry stage than after water is applied. In the end, I would say 8 pencils are genuinely good. 8 are usable, especially if you are planning to activate them with water. And the remaining 8 are not pleasant to use, but they can still work if you treat them more like a pigment source. So it's not a consistent set, but it is not unusable either. For the price, you're basically getting a mixed palette where about 2/3 of the pencils are actually worth using. And although I planned on returning this, I decided to keep it. This was my reason.